This is a proud presentation of Mississippi River Radio Sports, the sports authority. Live in the studio. It's time for the Red Hawks Coaches Show. Live
Talk about the
Hear the Coaches Show each week on SEMO ESPN 1220 and also at SEMOESPN.com and the SEMO ESPN app. Also, watch the Red Hawks Coaches Show webcast live at SEMOESPN.com. Now, let's go live to Wings, etc. Live for the Red Hawks Coaches Show.
And we welcome you in live to the Red Hawks Coaches Show at Wings, etc. We are in the Cape Girardeau location. Come on out and join us for lunch. We've got great seats available. And, of course, on Mondays, their award-winning jumbo wings here at Wings, etc. are just 69 cents. They've got daily half-pound lunch specials starting at just $7.99. And check out their full menu. If you're not in the mood for their award-winning jumbo wings, you can check out their freshly made burgers, their wraps, subs, quesadillas, entree salads, smoked ribs, and much more. It is Wings, etc. in Cape. Great food, great times. We will be in the Jackson location, by the way, next week. So hope you can make plans to join us there as the Red Hawk football team gets ready for a home game against Eastern Kentucky. We're going to talk about the Colonels. We'll talk about the big win against Tennessee State as well. But let's welcome in football coach Tom Matukowicz. Big football game Saturday, but, man, it's just a big athletics weekend at Southeast Missouri State. We've got volleyball Thursday and Friday. We've got OVC soccer on Friday for the Red Hawks. You got basketball on Sunday at the Show Me Center, a doubleheader, and then, of course, the big football game. That's a lot of stuff.
Yeah, it really is, and it just reminds you just how important the athletic program and the university is to this town. You know, all the people that visit and shop and eat and stay the night and all these things. I'm glad I don't work in athletic administration because they got their work cut out for us this week.
Wow.
But it's a good thing, right? You know, you got postseason play going on, and hopefully we sell a bunch of tickets for this weekend. I know it's going to be a nice day, and so a lot of guys didn't get to see us at home for homecoming because of the weather, and we're kind of fun to watch.
Very fun to watch. It was fun to watch you play at Tennessee State on Saturday. Going into the game, they are playing more games now at their old stadium, and it is old, Hale Stadium. And just when you got there, you saw the turf. It's natural grass. They had a freeze, so some of the grass had died. You could see the Bermuda was yellow, and you were concerned about footing, before the game even started.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't great, but at least it was dry, so that helped. But it was definitely kind of a slick track out there.
I think their kick returner, Roland, slipped on the very first play.
Our kicker sprained his ankle in warm-ups, because that's the thing. When you plant,
right,
and he ended up spraining his ankle. So.
Tiller or Kraus?
Kraus.
So your kickoff specialist. And by the way, Elijah Suela is going to join us here. He just walked in. Red Hawks offensive guard is going to join us, senior, and he's going to, before that, take a look at this delicious menu here at Wings, etc. Man, you bring in the offensive lineman. Yeah. There's a little bit more food intake here at Wings, right?
I'm sure he's already got his lineup going on, so I'm sure he'll be ready to roll.
So you get the football after you stop them. They have the football first, and you give them a 3-and-out. And you get the football and go right down the field, Coach. That was a really impressive drive to start the game. It was 5 plays, 60 yards in just a minute and 20, and Santa was sharp, man. 3 for 4 passing, including the touchdown pass to Christian Wilkerson, which was record-setting, his 30th career touchdown, and that breaks Paul McRoberts' all-time school record.
Yeah, there's a bunch I want to talk about that. Of course, Christian's been a great player here, but to break that record's pretty special. Certainly when you're in a company with Paul McRoberts, but it's also just a great team honor. He's done that not in one season, but a career, and he's had to have a career of help. And so he's played with a lot of good players, and obviously we've been able to have some success for him to do that. And so just awesome. Santa was great. I'll tell you the play, though, that maybe was even better than Christian's score was that third down rollout. I don't know if you remember, but Aaron jumped up, and it looked like, oh, my God, he jumped too soon. He kept going up and got that, and there's probably 4 people there. And he didn't practice much. He was injured. It was coming back from concussion. So I thought that was one of the huge plays in that first drive was that third down catch by hand, third down throw, and the protection, obviously.
I'm not sure there is a defensive back in the OVC that can jump with Aaron Alston. I don't know that I've seen one.
Yeah, he's got a 40-inch vertical, and he's not a little guy either. I mean,
6'4".
Yeah, and he's thick, and so definitely a challenge for those guys.
Boy, and you get the momentum, and you mentioned Santa was sharp early. That had to do a lot, not only for his confidence, but for the confidence of the offense.
Yeah, exactly. I think, in our O-line, they got better, which is the point. If you're sitting here right now, and you can't go all the way to here, but just make some progress. And you saw the progress the O-line made with the production of the offense, both running and passing. The better they get, the better the offense gets, both running and passing. So, no one was harder on those guys than me. I mean, for sure. And so just our team and coaches, man, we appreciate them and the effort they made to get it better. But, you got to do it again because Eastern Kentucky's D-line is better than Tennessee State's D-line. And so they got a real task ahead of them this weekend.
I've been interviewing you for 6 years now, and that's about as pointed as I've heard you be last week when you're talking about the O-line. And I mean, you just flat out said, I don't know how some of these guys can look Santa in the eye.
Yeah. Yeah, I try not – obviously it's a team game, and so it's not somebody's fault. But, I think the frustration was we're better than what we're doing. If we're not good enough, I wouldn't be bringing it up. We're just not good enough. But I thought we were good enough. We just weren't playing well enough. And so those guys really took it on them. In fact, you could bring up Elijah. Elijah had a Thursday night dinner with the O-line after practice where he watched film with him. He's the lone senior starter there. And, we lost 2 really good leaders last year, too, in Forbes and our center, Lucas Orchard. And so, we've asked him to maybe pick up the pace a little bit in the leading, and that's not necessarily a natural thing for him. And he crushed it and is doing a really good job, and got to give those guys credit. Not too much because there's plenty in there that they need to get better at for this year, for this game.
So you jump out, the extra point kick hit the right upright, so it's a 6-0 game. And then it's 3 consecutive field goals from Kendrick Tiller. You really moved the ball well, but it seemed like I think he got inside the 10 3 times, and you just couldn't run it when you got in there. I mean, you got points.
Yeah, exactly.
I know you wanted touchdowns. You got points, so that was good. It seemed like they clamped down on the run once you got inside the 10-yard line.
Yeah, the field shrinks. All the spacing shrinks. Like you physically got to go and impose your will on somebody. And I thought our ball carriers could have ran the ball a little better there too. They weren't patient enough. But that was disappointing because really the game could have been over at half. And that could have been a 34-0 at half,
sure.
Right? Obviously, kicking field goals, and then we ended up missing one. Well, they're a 2-score game. Even though the game wasn't even close, but they went into the halftime thinking, well, it's just 2 touchdowns and a 2-point, and we're back in it. And so we got to learn our lessons from those red zone stops that they got on us.
Still, red zone offense, you had success. That's the big thing.
Yeah, exactly.
And, you look at what Geno Hess did, Coach. Boy, you talk about a coming-out party. 2 touchdowns for Geno. It's his first 100-yard rushing game. He finished with 156 yards, and then the 73-yard touchdown run. Now, they've got some athletes in that secondary for Tennessee State. I didn't know he was that fast. I mean, they did not catch him.
Well, I was worried about it, too, because since he's get here, his booty's gone from like this to this. And I was like, will you stop eating? But he got it over with. I mean, that's the bottom line. And like you said, that's not a slow team. And so to be able to house call him was huge. And, obviously he didn't do that by himself, so a lot of extra effort. I know Aaron Alston threw an amazing block downfield. You don't go that far
Right.
unless everybody downfield's blocking also. So
And we talked about Alston's block.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a really good play.
yeah, so obviously, Gino's needs to thank his teammates too.
So also he had, before the 73-yarder, that came in the fourth quarter and basically put the game away. But he had an 18-yard run, Coach, to finish off a 5-play, 54-yard drive. That was a nice run.
No, it really was. That was right after half, right? Yeah, that was huge because we knew we were going to get the ball. It was still a 2-score game. Hey, look, we got to go down and pop it in here, and they did, and never really looked back. So that was a huge drive, and great job by our O-line, and it was kind of plugged up. He bounced it outside and took it the distance too.
That kind of tells you about his vision, right?
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, when we hear running backs describe some of the really great ones, it's not just always about athletic ability; it's about vision too, right?
Well, it's everything. If you weren't athletic, then we shouldn't even have recruited you. At the end of the day, I always judge it by how many did you get compared to what was blocked. Some of these plays, like I could have got 8. You should get 12. So that's where you really judge a back is what was blocked versus what they get. And Marquez Terry was the best I've ever coached. I mean, ever. You'd say, well, that should be a 5-yard loss. He gained 2. And I still feel like our running backs can continue to improve there, in the vision game. But I agree with you. A couple of those things where he popped it out tells you a lot about his vision.
Man, they've got some big, strong dudes on that defensive line, and I thought Mark Robinson ran with some physicality.
Yep. Obviously we're missing Zion Custis. I don't know if he'll play this week, but that's why we talk about it. And it's hard because middle of the season, everybody's healthy and we're only getting 7 or 8 plays. Hey, coach, I want the ball and all those things. But if you care about the mission, you care about your teammates, the goal here is to win it. And we got to win it with depth because someone's going to get hurt. Zion wasn't available, and those other 2 guys picked up the slack there.
Boy, in the passing game, it hasn't been a whole lot of calling Zach Smith's name this year, Coach,
Yeah.
but this was clearly his best game of the season. 6 plays, 72 yards. He really made an impact.
Yeah, it really did. It was great for him to see several long balls, some short yardage, some short balls too, and so it's great to see him have success. He was a guy that I'm sure he thought he was going to have 1,000 yards pass or receiving and could have. It's just sometimes the game works like that, and he's had a couple bad drops, and that's kind of how life goes. It's you're going to have some drop passes. It's about how you respond, and he kept working and kept good attitude, and he's raised well for that.
And it's almost surprising now when you look at the stat sheet at the end of a game if Christian Wilkerson doesn't have 100 yards receiving. You know what? I mean, it's almost standard operating procedure. That means you're really good. 100 yards in a Division I football game for a receiver is hard to do.
It really is. And, just great, just another great job. Thought he had some good run after catch too, which is huge. And having both those guys out there is just a really big deal. And plus, Santa had time to, set his feet and deliver the ball. A couple of those were digs and curls that take a little time to develop.
And in order for you to have confidence to call some of those plays,
Right.
you've got to have confidence. Hey, I think the line is going to be able to get the job done.
Right, because all of a sudden you get TFL'd or a sack, and then the series is over. It's just tough. So, it all works together, and we've made progress.
And really, no big back-breaking penalties in the football game either.
No, that was pretty clean. We had the one holding that ended up being a touchdown, got called back on holding. That was rough to look at because we had the holding against UT Martin on the same play, got called back, same guy. And so that was disappointing that we didn't learn our lessons.
It looked pretty
there.
obvious on the play.
Yeah. And I know he didn't try to do it.
Sure.
We just got to develop that skill and having your hands inside and all the coaching points there.
You went into the football game in conference play. You ranked at the bottom in third down conversions. This was your best game of the year, certainly against Division I competition. 9 for 16 on third down. Man, you just kept drives alive all day long in that game.
And that was because we didn't have the negative yardage plays. It's not our third down problem in the past. It's been our first and second down problem, which we had manageable third downs, so we were able to convert a lot of those. But it also why the defense gets tired. You go 7, 8, 9 play drives, they wear down, and then you can punch it in. So I think that was indicative of how well we were playing on first and second down too.
And 32 minutes time of possession. So that, again, that is keeping their defense on the field.
Yeah, exactly. Obviously, our defense was causing 3 and outs, got 3 takeaways, so that's also why our offense had the ball a bunch.
Boy, the way that the defense played again, Coach, you've just got to go into a football game so confident on that side of the football. I mean, offense can be up and down, man. Defense travels, and your defense traveled to Nashville Saturday.
Yeah, exactly. I think it was a lesson I learned early here when Jacksonville State. It's all about the D-line. I mean, it just helps the second and third level. And right now, our D-line has been able to win the line of scrimmage, and so. It's a lot easier to play defense when that's happening.
Zach Hall forces another fumble. Boy, he's good at it, isn't he?
And we talked a lot about that. They've turned it over. Their ball security isn't good. And so, but it doesn't matter if we don't expose it. Like you got to, there's teams that don't get any takeaways versus them too. It's because they don't take it away from them. You got to do a great job. When you get to the tackle, either you punch it out or you strip it. And he did a nice job stripping their ball carrier.
You had to be – I know coaches are never satisfied. You had to be pleased at halftime. I think they had 43 total yards in the first half. I think they had 9 rushing yards.
Yeah. If we wouldn't have missed that field goal, I'd have felt great. But we missed the field goal. The good thing, it was a long walk, so I calmed down by the time I talked to our field goal unit back in the locker room. But because, again, you're just disappointed. Like, we were whipping them, but still a 2-score game. Like, that's just a shame, and against a better opponent, we won't be able to do that.
And Eastern Kentucky is a better opponent, and you're going to see them on Saturday. It was Justin Swift leading the way, Coach, with 8 tackles, including 1 behind the line of scrimmage. He had 5 tackles behind the line of scrimmage, but Justin Swift didn't get to play much in the previous game, came in and was impactful as he normally is.
Yeah, great bounce-back game by him. No penalties, so he got better physically, but he also got better mentally. So that was great by him also.
And how about DJ Freeman?
Yeah, just a tremendous game. And it's been just a great season for him. I'm sure people probably seen this, but they actually had a top 10 ESPN catch that was on DJ where, a guy goes up, one hands, makes a beautiful catch, and that's the life of a DB. I mean, you could play an amazing game, and then next thing you know is your buddies are giving you hell because you're on ESPN getting the ball mossed on you or whatever they call it.
Well, okay, that was Stephen Newbold, and that's as good a catch as I've seen in college football this year. But Newbold came into the game with 2,300 career receiving yards. Other than that catch, he was not a factor.
Yeah, exactly.
You totally took him out of their offense.
No, exactly right. I think that goes back to our D-line. I don't think the quarterback ever felt comfortable. They were just some speed outs and some stuff like that. But other than that, he did not want to really throw it down there. So didn't feel like he had the time from the pass rush, I think.
Yeah, so talk a little bit about the heat you were able to put on their quarterback.
Yeah, did a nice job. Several guys, saw pressure, and I think it just affected everything. That's the winning the line of scrimmage is just so critical.
They're doing the statistics up in the press box, but for you to finish with no quarterback hurries, I'm sorry. There were some quarterback hurries.
Yeah.
I mean, that may be a tough stat to stat,
right?
But you definitely hurried their quarterback several times.
We keep our own stats, but I know Pirtle's a guy that's a newcomer that's kind of coming on. He had a sack, I believe.
He did,
and several quarterback hurries. So we're affecting the quarterback well. I think statistically in the league, in turnovers and sacks, we've had a good 3-game run here.
Boy, it really has. You look at the Austin P game. That's your lone conference loss, and that was the game that you really weren't forcing turnover. I mean, once you've started forcing turnovers, you've really made an impact.
And we didn't sack him. that was a thing where I felt like we needed more pressure. The guy from Austin P had more
Javon
time,
Craig.
and we were obviously defending the run a lot more that game. But I think if we'd have got more sacks, it would have been a different outcome also.
So when you look back, the thing that impressed you most, maybe that you pointed out in the locker room to your team after the game?
I just appreciated the week. They got after it. It was just a really good week of preparation. Our culture's good. The attitude's good. There wasn't a lot of tender booties running around. No one cared about anything other than trying to go win a football game on the road. And again, you talk about some of my job is to get young people to understand how now matters, right? Now matters. Like you went to Nashville and beat a team that no one's been able to do since 1987 or whatever. I keep forgetting.
96.
96.
Yep.
Hell, there's a reason I had to go to JUCO. And win. Like that's something no one can take from this team. And along with the 2-time winning the wheel and all the other stuff that this team's done is history making, and their legacy is pretty awesome. And it's kind of fun because this week's the impact game versus EKU, and want to talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, explain to people what the impact game, what that entails.
Well, we've partnered with the Bank of Missouri, and what we're trying to do is shine a light on all the awesome things that are going on in our area. There's so much publicity to the negative, and I think what we're trying to do is highlight the positive. And the fact is, no one got wherever you're at. No one got there by themselves. And really, we all have a choice to make. We could go be a positive influence in someone's life or a negative influence in someone's life. And so that's what it's all about. It's about making a difference in the community. We're going to recognize 10 award winners. But also one cool thing I want to tell everybody about is in the second quarter, when you come into the game, you're going to get a card. And in the second quarter, you'll be prompted, and you're going to write your person down. Who has had an impact in your life, and then everybody's going to show it, which is pretty cool, right? If you're really into other people. I guess if you're an a-hole, you probably don't want to participate in that. But if you're a good dude, like that's what it's about. Is people and who you're doing it with, and so I'm pretty excited about that. It's year one, so I'm sure it won't be as good as it could be, but year two be better. The other thing is our players. On the back of our helmets, I don't know if you ever saw the back of our helmet has brick by brick. On the back of it's going to be their person's name.
Okay.
And so every senior gets to pick their impact person, and they put their name on the helmet. The honorees, the one that won the award, will put their name on the positions, and they'll go play in their honor. We're going to talk about their story and the impact that they've had in others' lives, and we just want to pay it forward. We want our players to make an impact and on each other and in the community and back in their homes.
You always make a focus. You're only concentrating on this game. You're focused on one game at a time.
When you do this, I know where you're going because you're like my wife. You always try to disarm me. But I'm ready for you today. Don't be talking about anything OVC-wise or I'm going to karate chop you.
All right. Well, let's not get karate chop. But things, you control your destiny. How about that?
See, you're right. Exactly right. That's the only thing that matters. We don't need UT Martin to do anything or Austin P to do anything. All right, we take care of ourselves. We'll win a championship and we'll be in the playoffs, which is what matters. So go win. That's what matters. How do you win? You prepare, and so all the focus has got to be on the preparation.
And it was interesting because when I did my pregame interview with you on Saturday in Nashville, one of the very first things that you talked about, we have had a great week. We have had a great week. So, you were expecting a performance like that, weren't you?
No, it felt really good. It doesn't matter what I say. It's matter whether they listen. No coach gets up and says stupid stuff. Like, that doesn't even exist. It's that, are they listening to you? That's the whole key, because if they can listen and then they can drive the behaviors and work with each other, then you can move mountains. But it's really hard to get everybody that bought in to do their piece of what it takes because, it's like our work team. We have 40 people that didn't even go to the game. that was just as important in winning and losing as any other player that was at the game. That's the guys that gave the looks at Tennessee State's defense, at Tennessee State's offense, and that's how it works. That's iron sharpens iron. Like that's how you get better, is the look you get during the week.
How about health? Where are you?
I'm pretty banged up, so we lost our left tackle, Ja'Kai Baker, and so that's disappointing. Zion Custis looks like is still questionable. Defensively, pretty good. Clarence did break a finger, and you know it was a dislocation where it poked out the skin.
Oh,
you know what I mean? So that was exciting. Man, they had a really tough injury.
Yeah, see, it was a long time.
11, yeah.
We couldn't tell what the injury was.
Right before half, number 11, they're really good linebacker. I mean, he led the team in tackles and everything. Tackled Santa and broke his femur. And it was sticking out, so it was, you know, not. It's. I mean, that just breaks your heart, right?
Jason Bryant is his name. And, yeah, that was
that's a half of work. He had nine tackles, a sack, and a TFL and a half.
Impact guy.
You know, and they've had a lot of injuries, and so they're just kind of having one of those rough seasons. You know, I've had them myself, and, you know, once those injuries start, it's just kind of hard to get it corrected, because then all the depth leaves, and now guys are playing more, and they more. I mean, it just snowballs on you.
And – you know, let's face it, some people may say, well, you should have gone in there and taken care of business. Well, Austin Peay thought the same thing, and they went to Tennessee State and lost to Tennessee State.
Exactly. No, that's a good win for us, and excited about this week of preparation and moving forward.
All right, we'll talk with Elijah Suela when we come back from the timeout. Tell us a little bit more about Elijah, Coach, and maybe about recruiting him here to Southeast.
Well, he's a beautiful man, and I love him. You know, he's had a hard college. He lost his mom when he was in junior college. You know, and he's got a great family, an amazing dad, but I can't even imagine what that is like. And so that tells you a little bit about his character. Went to junior college, played, redshirted when his mother passed, and then played, and then we got him. You know, started every game since he's been here, I believe. I don't know if he's missed a game because of injury or not, but I believe he's started every game since he's been a Red Hawk. Just a great guy, and you know, just so happy that he's been a part of the success that we've had.
We will talk with Elijah Suela, the senior offensive lineman out of Des Moines, Iowa, when we come back. We'll take a timeout. Coach Tuke will rejoin us a little bit later on in the show. It's the Red Hawks Coaches Show. We're at Wings, etc. Still time for you to join us for lunch. We're in the Cape Girardeau location. Back to talk with Elijah Suela after this timeout on SEMO ESPN.
Sports bar, Wings, etc. in Cape and Jackson begs to differ. They take their sports bar status serious. Wings, etc. is the host of the SEMO Coaches Show every Monday from noon to 1.
any of the sporting events. There's Monday Night Football tonight. Maybe you were here and watched the Patriots lose last night. I don't know. Joe Hobbs, not very excited about that. I did notice Hobbs had no Patriot gear on today, just a Red Hawk hat, front runner right there. No. So you knew the Patriots weren't going to go there. And we want to invite you to stop by and join us. And don't forget, they've got a family-friendly menu here, a great kids menu. So it's a great place to bring the kids. It's a comfortable, laid-back family environment. And they've got food and drink specials throughout the week, including their 69-cent wings on Mondays and their appetizer lineup. Check out their ultimate nachos here at Wings Etc. and their spicy deep-fried pickle spears. It's Wings Etc. Good food, great times. By the way, just got this note from Sports Information Director Jeff Hansa, Strategic Communication Director Jeff Hansa. SEMO is up to number 17 in this week's Top 25 media poll. They are 18 in the coaches poll, and this note, Jacksonville State has dropped out of the top 25 in both polls, and they had been ranked for several years in a row. It's the first time they've dropped out in years. I can't remember. They always brag about their streaks and their game notes and things like that, and the Red Hawks broke their conference winning streak last year, snapped their home winning streak this year, and now their streak of being in the top 25 polls is over. So just that note as they lost and now have 3 conference losses. Let's welcome in Red Hawks senior offensive guard Elijah Suela. Elijah, how are you?
I'm doing good.
Hey, thanks for coming out. We appreciate it. What was on the menu? Because you look like you could put away a wing or two.
I just had a chicken sandwich.
Okay, you went with the sandwich.
Yep.
All right.
Not too messy.
Now, as far as going to Tennessee State on Saturday, did you know, had Coach mentioned to you how long it had been since a SEMO football team had won in Nashville?
Yeah, I think he mentioned it maybe the night before the game, something like that.
Is that motivation for anybody if you learn that, hey, there's a streak here that can be snapped?
Yeah, it's always kind of been fun being like the first team to do this since then. So it's a little extra motivation, but you don't really think about it during the game that much.
Did you kind of feel like the last Mohican, being the only offensive starter back on the offensive line, and all of a sudden you got a bunch of new faces? You got guys who, had played some games, but in terms of starters, you were the only guy back from last year's team.
Yeah, a little bit going into it because you don't really know who your teammates are going to be. You miss the guys from the year before, but these guys that came in here, I love these guys. They've been, great friends.
All right, Drew Forbes in the NFL with the Cleveland Browns. Cleveland is not having the year everyone had hoped for. How much do you keep in contact with Drew?
I haven't talked to him in a long time, but, he's busy. He's doing a lot of stuff. I'm busy, so hope he's doing great. Kind
of cool, though, that you worked alongside a guy who's now in the league.
Oh, yeah. I miss playing with that guy so much. He was just a beast, nicest guy ever. He really was a good leader.
How much chatter is there up there on the line of scrimmage? I mean, just Tennessee State. You got guys, breathing smoke on the other side, and how much smack talk goes on?
So it really depends. Sometimes there's a lot more than, other games, but, there's definitely plenty of talk going on.
How much chatter was there Saturday?
Not much. I think, we got out to an early lead, so they didn't have much to talk crap about.
So if you are thinking back about the games you played so far this season, where has the most chirping came from?
Maybe SIU, the first game.
Really?
Yeah.
And I guess the thing you say back in a game like that, scoreboard, right?
Yeah, right. Right.
Well, Jacksonville State's kind of known for a little.
Yeah. I don't think they're playing with the confidence that they did last year, so you didn't hear much from them either.
How cool was that to go down there and break their streak, even though it was kind of a rainy, messy, kind of chilly evening?
It was fun, especially going. I wanted to go 2-0 against Jacksonville State in my career here, and I did just that.
Now that's something that there aren't a whole lot of people that can say. I mean,
right.
Because SEMO hasn't had a whole lot of success against Jacksonville until recently. How cool was it last year to be a part of that playoff team? Not only a team that went to the playoffs, a team that won a playoff game.
Right. It was awesome. Coming into here, I didn't know how it was going to go. SEMO's been, wins 3 games a year. I'm like, well, these coaches seems like they're turning things around. And then came here and we won a bunch of games, and it's awesome.
How much negative recruiting do you hear? Like if you're being recruited from someone else, they know that you're being recruited by another school. How much do you hear, hey, man, why would you want to go there? Does that happen?
Yeah,
on
it
the
definitely
recruiting
happens a lot. Oh, we got better facilities than them. They don't win any games, this and that. But, you got to make the best decision for yourself.
I would think right now the recruiting pitch from the coaches has got to be pretty good with what you guys are doing right now.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure. We're going to start getting better recruits in here in the next couple of years, More winning we do, the better the program's going to keep getting.
What have you seen? Because anyone that I've ever talked to always talks about you've got to develop chemistry on an offensive line. It's not just one guy doing his job. Everyone is working together as a unit. How long does it take to gel? And are you seeing this particular offensive line gel as we go deeper into the season?
Yeah, I think we're improving each week, and obviously you can see there's been rough games here and there, and that's going to happen with having 4 new guys on the offensive line. So we're getting better, but it's still not. We're not where we need to be yet.
Running the football, and when you have a guy like Gino have a game, 156 yards and a couple of touchdowns, does that give you a lot of pride, as the offensive line? Because you're primarily responsible for that stuff.
Yeah, for sure. Coming off the UT Martin game, we didn't move the ball that well, and we didn't have much yards. And, I think the offensive line took it personal, and, we want to prove that we can get this done, and, we got it done.
What's it like when the coach really kind of points you out and says, I need better production?
Right. Like I said, you take it personal. We got the O-line got our butts chewed quite a bit last Monday, and we don't want to feel like that again. So
all right. Coach said that you kind of were in charge of a little get-together where you guys kind of had dinner together and you were watching film, and he said you kind of took a leadership role. Mm-hmm. Is that something that have you been asked to be a leader in the past, or is this kind of new territory for you?
It's definitely new going into this year, but I kind of knew it was coming, being the only returning starter. And yeah, Coach Tukey wanted me to get the guys together after practice. He's going to get us some food, and we're going to watch that film, and we're going to dive deep on these guys.
So, are you watching film on Tennessee State? Are you watching some clips of you from the previous game? How's it work?
So we watched their most previous game against Austin Peay, which they won. So that's them playing at a high level. So we wanted to watch just that first quarter through fourth quarter is what we watched.
And how did they beat Austin Peay?
They just played good. They just kind of won the line of scrimmage. The Austin Peay struggled moving the ball against them, and they won.
And they won the game late. A really big win for them. So, not only were you playing a team that was coming off a huge win over a nationally ranked team, they also had a bye week to prepare for you. So you knew you were going to get their best shot Saturday, I would think.
Yeah, we definitely thought they were going to come out hard. And, that's why we really wanted to start the game off fast. We get the ball, we're going to score. And, that's what we did. We got up early on them and then kind of made them give up a little bit.
How about when you take the opening drive and, you primarily pass the ball down the field. Santa goes 3 for 4, throws the touchdown pass. Do you like coming out of the gate as an offensive lineman throwing the football?
I don't really mind as long as we're getting yards. If we're doing that by running the ball or passing the ball, I don't really care.
What do you like to do better, pass block or run block?
If I'm fresh, I'll run block all day. But when I start getting tired, I'll call a pass play. I'll pass block all day.
What's the key to being able to protect the quarterback?
It just your first 2 steps, getting them in the ground, get your feet moving, and getting your hands on. If you miss with your punch, if D lineman swipes your hands off them, you're going to be behind them. They're going to get kind of work your edge, and so really just that first 2 seconds into it, just boom, boom.
How often do you get away with holding?
Every play.
Because you hear, I mean, people will say, man, you could call holding on every play. Is that true?
Yeah, you can. It's just up to the ref if he wants to let us play a little bit or not.
How much conversation is there with linemen and the referee out there?
Last week I had quite a bit. That guy didn't seem to like me a whole bunch, but but not often. You don't want to get on their bad side. Then they're going to start watching you a little bit more closely. So you just want to be nice to them. Just like, good call, ref.
Who's the nastiest guy that you played next to? I don't mean a dirty player. I just mean he is one nasty dude. You go to war with this guy in an alley. What guy have you worked with?
Well, I could definitely say Forbes because he put anyone in the ground. But last year, Lucas Orchard at center, that guy, he didn't care. He was, he would probably tell you he's 6 foot tall, but he's like 5'10", smaller than everyone. But he would fight anybody. He'd go at it.
And we would watch Lucas Orchard, the guy that does the games with me on the radio, Rick Weezer, who used to be a quarterback here at SEMO. He's in the Hall of Fame. He would always say Lucas Orchard was his favorite player. He would love to just watch him because not only would he play to the whistle, he would play to the echo of the whistle. Am I right?
Oh, yeah. It's just like goes back to, running, morning runs, run through the line. You want to run through the whistle. You don't want to stop before. You don't want the defensive guy to get an extra shot. No, you want to run through that whistle.
All right, Davenport, Iowa, your hometown. What was it like growing up in Davenport?
It's Des Moines, Iowa.
Or Des Moines, I'm sorry.
Des Moines,
Iowa.
capital city.
Okay.
It was awesome. I love my hometown. I got a big family. I got a lot of nieces and nephews. I'm the youngest of 6 kids. So I got 3 older sisters, 2 older brothers. I went to a great high school. I won 2 state championships. But I loved it.
How about winning a state championship? Is there anything like that?
Oh, no, nothing like it. I won my junior year and my senior year, and that was a great moment. I still remember it like it was yesterday. It was already 5-6 years ago.
Boy, it's so hard because everything has to go right in the playoffs. I mean, anything can trip you up in the playoffs. It's hard to win a state championship.
Yeah, it definitely is. Luckily for my high school, we've won I think 6 in a row now. Since I got out of high school.
You guys are a dynasty then.
Yeah. Play Class 4A in Iowa, which is the highest level. It's never been done before, and they just started the playoffs, so I'll be watching out and see if they can get another one.
All right, now you went to Iowa Western Community College. How far away from your hometown is that?
It's about 2 hours west. It's like right in Council Bluffs, Iowa, right next to Omaha. So it's not too bad.
So you're talking about being the youngest sibling. How many of your other siblings played sports?
My brother closest to me, he played basketball. He played like football in like 8th grade, freshman year. But no one has gone as far as I have with college football.
Would you play anything else growing up in Des Moines?
Yeah, I played basketball till my sophomore year, and I was like, all right, I'm going to get big and get ready for football. I did a little track, but football was definitely my main sport.
So track, like shot put, discus?
Yeah, I did some shot. I definitely was not the best at it. I just kind of did it to do it.
Well, tell us about the recruiting process and how you came to be a Red Hawk.
Well, Coach Martin recruited me. I was coming. It was my spring ball coming off the year I actually took off. So I played my freshman year. I didn't play my sophomore year. I redshirted. I stayed at home. And then I came back, so, I didn't have any of the coaches talking to me anymore. They all thought I was done with football. I came back. Coach Martin came to a spring practice, never talked to him before, introduced himself after practice, and with like a week or 2, he called me and they offered me.
How cool is that when someone says, hey, we want to offer you a Division I scholarship to play college football?
It was awesome. It was a dream come true. It's like my whole life I've been waiting for it. Just sometimes, you get there like, man, is this ever going to happen? Is anyone ever going to take a chance on me? And then, they finally did.
So what was the goal prior to the season? Was it OVC championship?
For sure. Me and, the whole team, we definitely want to win the conference and then see what we can do in the playoffs.
Boy, it's been fun so far, and just a tremendous offensive performance. I mean, the defense has been phenomenal, and the offense was really good on Saturday against Tennessee State. What are your thoughts on Eastern Kentucky on Saturday?
Well, we still have a bad taste in our mouth from playing them last year. They beat us. We had a tough game, so we definitely want to, prove that wrong right, and get a big win.
I think, if I remember correctly, it was 5 turnovers.
Yeah.
And that may have been the only game you guys lost the turnover about. I don't know.
I think it was. I think either that game and Weber probably.
Weber State in the playoffs.
But EKU just seemed like nothing was going our way that game, and But this year, new year, new team, and we're ready to get a big win.
How's it been playing the home games? I know the homecoming game was kind of messed up because of the weather, but we're expecting a big crowd. Boy, it seems like the community is really believing in this program right now.
Yeah, it's awesome. Like, I think even when I first got here in January 2018. Maybe not the community cared as much, not as much, but, now I can go to the grocery store and someone stops me. So it's really awesome. A lot of people are coming out, and hopefully we have a good crowd Saturday.
Hopefully it's going to be a big crowd for a big Red Hawk victory. 3 games to go. 2 of them will be at Houck Stadium. We will see you Saturday over at Houck Stadium. Elijah, thanks so much for your time. Elijah Suela, Red Hawks senior left guard. We'll take a timeout and come back to have a final segment with Coach Tuke on the Red Hawks Coaches Show from Wings Etc. on SEMO ESPN.
This is Peter Kinder, River Radio, and I invite you to celebrate our spirit of democracy.
Just a reminder, we'll be over in Jackson next week, and they've got a big playoff game, big football playoff game against Seckman coming up Friday night. Jackson has an undefeated season going, Coach Tuke, for 2 years in a row. They haven't lost a regular season game since 2017.
It's amazing. Is it Cape at home too, or are they on the road?
I don't
think
they're Cape is
at home too. So man, what a great. I mean, it's awesome. 2 home playoff games in this area. I don't know much about Seckman. Are they having a good year?
No.
No.
I think 2 wins.
Okay. But, yeah, super happy for both those coaches, both those programs. I know them both very well. And if you have a son that's playing for either one of those 2, as you get older, you really appreciate the values that they're instilling on those young kids.
And, you look at what Coach Eckley has done over at Jackson. And you've seen Jackson games. I mean, that guy really knows offense, doesn't he?
Yeah. And I guess they're playing great defense, too.
Their defense is
it's
terrific.
Just, he's just a great football coach. That's a great football job. I've always believed in this. Like, it's easy to teach people football. It's hard to teach people to work hard. And about everybody that goes through Jackson knows how to work. I just, my opinion, maybe I'm wrong, but – he gets a lot of people that know how to work, and he does a great job teaching them how to play football. He's got good alignment. Even little kids grow up in this system, and that's what great teams do. That's what programs do, and so he's got it rolling. But I'm also happy for Cape Central, to have those success for those players and coach. And It's just I'm happy as a football coach in this area. I'm a community member, just like everybody else. You want to see football here do well.
Yeah, and Coach Gibbs, I'm sure you know Coach Gibbs well. You were down in Sykeston and now at Cape Central.
I tried to hire him.
Really?
When I first got here, he turned me down. Still mad at it.
I was going to say, do you continue to remind him of that?
No, it was all good. He's a woodworker, which is my hobby. I don't get to do it much anymore, but we talked about that, and I loved. He's just a really good football coach, and he probably made the right decision. He loves young people. He loves the high school model, so it's worked out for him well.
How about the Colonels, Coach? What are the things that concern you about Eastern Kentucky? Obviously, they've got the league's leading rusher in Devin McCluskey.
Yep, it's got to start there because if he has a good game, we're probably not going to win. I mean, that's the bottom line. Like, we have to control him. He did well versus us last year, too. So our defensive, our good – basically the best way I can explain it this week is our good players got to show up and play well. They're very well coached. They have good players. We're well coached. We got good players, but our players got to go make plays. There isn't going to be any kind of – like, they're not going to turn it over. I bet you anything. We might get one or two, but – we're going to beat this team. It's because we showed up and we beat them. They're not going to beat themselves. And, that'll be my message. This is a good football team coming in here. They're going to be mad, and they're going to be excited to play you guys because if they beat the Red Hawks, that got their season back on track.
And, you look at the game last year, and that was the one game where you were bitten by the turnover bug. I think 5 turnovers in that game.
It was 5, and it was disgusting. It was just about a time you thought, well, at least we survived that. It can't happen again. It did. And it was bad. I watched it this morning and had to go out, walk around outside, get some fresh air. Hopefully none of that stink rubbed off on me. But that's just a lesson. Like, you can't turn it over, expect to win ball games. And, we haven't had any of those this year, really. So I'm assuming we'll do that well. But we need to go out and make sure we detail that out in our practice preparation.
And what was interesting, I thought, last year against Eastern Kentucky, that good playoff team that you had a year ago, I think when you were up to 4 turnovers, you were getting a punt to you, and
score.
You could have gone down and still won the football game. I mean, even with 4 turnovers, you had a shot to win that game.
No doubt. Yeah, that was just kind of the dagger to the heart there. But that's also why, defense, we had several good stops there. I mean, it's going to be a fun game, right? Like, think about how many teams get to talk what we're talking about in November. Most every team has to reset their goals or redo their mission because what they originally wanted to accomplish isn't available anymore. It still is for us. We could control our own destiny. If we keep winning, we keep playing. And, how good is that? And so let that emotion you feel when you hear those words drive all the hard work it takes to study film and prepare and all the things, because it's kind of easy to get tuned out because I'm not going to be – like, my message is going to be the same message it's been for 8 weeks. Like, it's the same message, but sometimes they get tired of listening, and that's what can't happen. Like, like, this is how we're going to win. We got to go out and put in the work.
And – when you talk about legacy in the Ohio Valley Conference, Eastern Kentucky has a lot of football championships, and they're the only active OVC member who's won the national championship under Roy Kidd.
And, and my competitive self knows that salary and knows how much their staff is getting paid and their budgets and all that. So, it makes me want to go prepare right now. Like, they want to win there. They do.
Talk a little bit about what your defensive coordinator has done this year, Bryce Sy. I mean, the offense gets a lot of praise, and you talk about individual players, and when you're talking about an All-American and Zach Hall, but the guy that is coaching them up is Bryce Sy, and you guys have been together a long time.
Yeah, and I think he would tell you his staff has done a good job. Like, it's not one coach. It's not one player. I mean, it's a commitment to an overall room, and of course he's the main driver, the leadership, and everything on defensively. So he's done a great job. Recruited well. He's got him playing well. This last 3 games, the turnover thing is really what sparked us, because ultimately we don't have any margins. Like, we're not going to be able to score enough points to have a bad day defensively. Like, we have a bad day defensively, we're going to lose. And so that pressure is tough, but they keep showing up, and it's been fun to watch, and certainly appreciative of Coach Sy. You know, we're college roommates, so we always have to work with each other because we could both get each other fired probably with what we've seen each other do.
Well, no one will be fired before Saturday, and that's when the game kicks off, 1 o'clock, Eastern Kentucky, and the impact game. And everybody get your card when you walk in and put the name of someone who has impacted your life on the card. It's going to be a fun day, Coach.
Yes, sir.
We'll see you over at Hawks Stadium on Saturday.
Yes, sir.
Thanks
Go
for your
Red
time.
Hawks.
All right, that's Coach Tuke. And we thank Elijah Suela for joining us a little bit earlier. Stay tuned. We've got the Stephen A. Smith Show coming up on ESPN Radio. And don't forget, 1 o'clock kickoff at Hawks Stadium on Saturday. And the Coaches Show will be over in Jackson next Monday. Hope to talk to you then. Enjoy the rest of your Monday, everybody. So long from Wings, etc.
Now, nothing but more sports. KTIR, SEMO ESPN 1220.